Okay, so this engine's got a check engine light, and when we took it to auto zone, we ended up getting codes P0305, P0205, P0174, and P0316. And that's cylinder number 5 misfire detected, cylinder 5 injector circuit malfunction, bank 2 combustion to lean, and misfire in the first 1,000 revolutions. So the cylinder 5 injector circuit malfunction and cylinder 5 misfire detected and bank 2 combustion to lean, it all points to a lack of fuel. Still, I changed the cop and the spark plug just because they're easy to get to. Number 5 is right there, center front. And they didn't fix anything, but now I've got an extra coil on plug that I can use for troubleshooting in the future, so I'll keep that aside. What we're looking at now is fuel injection. I want to point out the way I can tell I've got a permanent dead cylinder on this car is if I disconnect this cop right here, the center one, number 5, there's no change in engine RPM. The engine runs as good without the number 5 cop as it does with it. Now if I take out the number 6, like that, there's a drop in RPM. So now number 6 is disconnected. And now if I take out number 5, that should be a huge drop in RPM because theoretically I just disconnected 2 functioning cops. But number 5 is not functioning, so when I take it out and plug it in, there's no change. And of course when I take out number 4, there's a huge drop in RPM because now it's a 6-cylinder engine running on 3 cylinders. So now 4 is disconnected and 6 is disconnected, and I disconnect number 5, and guess what? There's no change. There should be a huge change right there because I've taken out the whole left bank of cylinders. So 5's plugged back in, 4's plugged back in, and 6 is plugged back in. And now it's still running, but it's running with a miss. But 4 and 6 are firing and 5 is not. So I've got a lean condition right here on this bank. The next thing I would do is a compression check, because with a compression test, I can check the compression of all 3 of these cylinders, 4, 5, and 6, and make sure they're all within the same range of each other. And if I've got good compression in 4 and 6, and I've got no compression or low compression in number 5 in the middle, then that's why number 5 isn't firing, because of low compression. So, again, a little bit of history on this car. High mileage, 2003 Ford Escape. Water was shorting out the cops, but that was temporary. It wasn't this permanent condition that I've got now. This is something totally different. So water was shorting out my cops, but after they dried out, it would run fine again. But he would have a miss. He would have a flashing check engine light, which warns me, hey, don't drive the car because you're going to destroy your catalytic converters. So of course I continued to drive the car because, hey, you want to get from point A to point B, and sometimes you just don't care. So I did it, and I destroyed at least 1 catalytic converter, probably 2. So the cat by the muffler, the rearmost cat in the car that's closest to the muffler, was definitely clogged, and I bypassed that one temporarily with pipe just until I get this fixed, because if I keep putting new catalytic converters in there, I'm going to keep destroying them with this check engine light malfunction that comes on every time the car gets wet. When the cat was clogged, it blew out my EGR valve, so I put a new EGR valve in there. Then the new problem is the number 5 injector lean condition. I got to fix this problem before I look at trying to keep those cops dry. And once I fix the number 5 injector lean condition, then I can try to figure out how to keep those cops dry so it doesn't do this again with check engine light. Then I can put all new catalytic converters in there. So far I've only messed with 1 catalytic converter. There's a good chance that left bank catalytic converter right at the left bank exhaust manifold is bad. I should probably look at that, but I haven't even looked at that one yet. But that one's probably bad as well, because right now I've got a lean condition, but with water on the cops you end up with a rich condition, and a rich condition will melt down your catalytic converter. So far I've replaced the number 5 spark plug and the number 5 coil on plug, no fix. Next I'm going to do a compression test. To do the compression test, I'm going to want to run it dry of fuel so that while we're doing the compression test it doesn't try to start the engine. And running it dry of fuel will help also because later on I might be changing out a fuel injector. And well, I've got the upper intake off to get to the right bank spark plugs. I'm going to shoot wires from the computer to the number 5 fuel injector to make sure that wire is good. The computer supplies the ground intermittently and timed to the fuel injector. So I'm going to check that wire. I'm also going to check the resistance in the number 5 injector. And then I'm going to fix the wire or change the injector, one or the other. I'll replace spark plugs on that far bank, and I'll check that upstream cat to see if it's clogged. And if none of that fixes it, then possibly a new PCM. But since we're talking about possibly getting into a fuel injector and doing a compression test but we don't want to start the engine, let's go ahead and disable fuel to this car. So if you get a screwdriver and put it in right here, you can pull this off easily. And it's really nice because it gives you a map if you invert it. So take this off, turn it like that, and you can see the map matches all the relays. And fuel pump is this one right here. So you see there's 1, 2, 3 that are all like that, and that one's fuel pump. And there's your 1, 2, 3, so this one's fuel pump. There. Now the car no longer has a fuel pump, and you can guess what's going to happen shortly without a fuel pump. Yep, no fuel for you. Okay, so time to take the number 5 cop off and the number 5 spark plug out and put in my compression tester. Okay, we're all set up on number 5 with the compression tester that I got from AutoZone, and it's number 27138 if you need one. What we need to do now is crank the engine over with the throttle body held wide open. Okay, hey sweetie, put the gas pedal to the floor and try to start the engine. That's good. Alright, so obviously compression is not my issue in number 5. I didn't think it would be. Number 5 has over 180 psi, and that's a lot. So I'll bleed that off. So as long as I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and check 4 and 6. Okay, so now number 5 is back together, and I've got the hose there for the compression tester hooked up to number 4, and this just goes on like that. Okay, sweetie, put the pedal to the floor and try to start it. Alright, I didn't tell you to stop, but that's good. We were coming up to 180 on that one as well, so that's good. And we're going to check number 6 next. So, pop that off. I forgot to bleed it down. And this just twist that right out of there. It was only in there finger tight. Set that aside and put the spark plug and cop back in. Get it threaded in all the way finger tight. Just kind of twist it around so you can't twist it anymore. Just twisting on the rubber hose. That's all you can get to. Yeah. it's tight, and then again, sitting there like that. Alright, just put that somewhere where you can see it. Alright, that'll work. Okay, sweetie, hey, put the gas pedal to the floor and try to start the engine until I tell you to stop. Go ahead. That's good. Alright, so you can see on that one, she kept the key on. She didn't stop prematurely. The other one was coming up at the same pace. You want to see the rate it comes up, the pace it comes up, and you know, each jump it comes up, that's one compression stroke. And eventually it came up over 180, just like number 5 did. So I think it's safe to say that I've got 180 psi on 4, 5, and 6. Which is definitely all within, you know, 10 or 15% of each other. So I've definitely got good compression on this engine. The next thing I need to do is take off this upper intake manifold to work on what we're doing next.